I forgot to unmute us. All right, now welcome to the Midlife Gaming Podcast. There's three of us again this time. Tom will probably be hanging out in chat a little bit later, but we got Ryan with us today. How's it going, Ryan?
Going good. 2 weeks in a row. Feeling good to be on again. Thanks.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Steve, how was your week?
Fantastic. Cannot complain at all.
Good stuff. Well, let's get into the news then. And starting off, we have Game Boy on the Switch. Oh, look, Tom's already in chat. According to a report by Eurogamer, which is a relatively trusted source of gaming news, both the Game Boy and Game Boy Color will likely be seen in the Nintendo Switch Online service. So for those who don't have it right now, if you are part of Nintendo Switch Online, you get access to like some Super Nintendo titles, some NES titles, and I think right now that's it. So what they're talking about here is adding those two additional consoles into it. There's no official word from Nintendo if it's even real, but leakers seem to believe that a quote really soon unquote timeline is on the horizon. What really soon means, who knows? But I know that one of the people that reported this initially was also someone who announced that Super Nintendo titles were coming about 6 months prior to them showing up on the Switch. How do y'all feel about this? I know, Steve, you don't really play too much of your Switch anymore, but
Maybe
maybe
you
with
want me to
these
just
classic
outright come
titles?
out and say I don't care? Because I can if you really want me to.
Yeah, honest opinions.
I don't give a damn at all.
Why not? Because you just don't spend time with it?
No, actually, I'm going through some things that would probably have me traveling a lot soon. So I probably will start playing the Switch, but I'll probably play the things I actually want to play on Switch. I just don't really have the time to now. Because the problem that I have with the Switch is when I'm at home, I'd rather be playing my PC.
Right.
When I'm out traveling, I probably don't have time to play, but if I actually do have the time to, I would. But no, this is just like I can't remember a like SNES. You've got me some NES games in 64, but I can't remember like a Game Boy or Game Boy Color game that I'm dying to play again. So like for this, it's like yeah, okay. I mean, it's a good value, but
Now, see, Ryan and I both have Pokemon Red for the original Game Boy
Yeah.
physically and a Game Boy to play it in. So how do you
Sure.
feel about this, Ryan? You don't have a Switch, do you?
I don't. I'm with Steve a little bit. Where if I'm at home, which I am most of the time right now, I'm playing PC. Even moved on from consoles and stuff like that. I used to be a avid either depending on which console was better, PlayStation or Xbox. I bounced around a little bit. Had both at certain times, but really it's been PC games for the last I'll call it 5 years or so for me. So don't have a Switch. I've missed out, and there's experiences that I would have wanted it for,
Mm-hmm.
like Zelda, of course, right? Things like that. But there hasn't been really a pull to me to just have a whole nother system, right? And when I'm out, I'm not looking down at the screen, sort of thing. So I could see why people would be excited about this, though. I mean, you tap into some nostalgia of some good games that were there in the past. It's probably easy to just have them accessible. Um, are those old Pokemon games on there? Because that would be pretty cool. But yeah, I guess from an excitement level, it doesn't hit my radar as much. But there's people that love Nintendo Switch, and most of the reason why they're there is because of the nostalgic value of all these old characters and how they used to play them and what that brings to the table. So I think it's tapping into that, which is probably a good thing overall, just not my cup of tea.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely a nostalgia hit, especially since they're not, at least at this point, selling these titles individually. They're just like, hey, listen, sign up for Nintendo Switch online service, like our Xbox Live type deal, and we'll toss these your way. They'll have a whole little app for Game Boy and Game Boy Color games in there. Now that said, they probably will, if this works out for them, they probably will make the next step over, which is opening up the eShop for other Game Boy titles, which is where the favorites will probably sit, like old Pokemon titles, OG Tetris, things like that. Um, I hope that they include some of the older Zelda titles, because some of the Game Boy and Game Boy Color Zelda titles were pretty on the money. That and like Dragon Quest. I didn't really have a whole lot of Game Boy original titles. I had one, but I think the only games I had were like, I don't even think I got the original Pokemon series until I had my Game Boy Color. So yeah, I think I only had like Tetris and maybe Dr. Mario for original Game Boy. And then Game Boy Color, I had like a couple of Pokemon games, including the trading card games. And then I had like Zelda, Age of Oracles and Age of Seasons, which were pretty fun as well. But really, I don't think in handhelds, I didn't really get really too invested in them until Game Boy Advance came around. That was the clutch handheld for my growing
I
up
had a
time.
Sega Game Gear. That's what I rocked.
See, we
boy.
had one of those, but the games were so damn hard. We had my brother had one, and we would play some Jurassic Park game on it. That was just
I
like,
think it was possible.
yeah, the game was impossible. We had the Lion King game as well. That game was also impossible.
Too. That one, Aladdin.
No such.
They were hard, man.
Yeah, there was no beating those games.
Do you remember Road Rash?
Yeah.
That game was awesome. You like beat people on a motorcycle and stuff like that. Those games. I guess they were all on Genesis at the same time too, as well.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
So that was like just the handheld version of it. But yeah, those games were hard, but they were fun. So
Yeah, I have a random fact about that. So they actually, the reason those games were so hard was because of rentals. So what the companies did was they made them more difficult so that you couldn't complete them within a single rental, and they wanted people to keep renting them. So that was why
it
was
worked.
like,
I was a little kid, man. I was struggling.
yep. So it
Struggling
was
like
like
my video.
either buy it or rent it multiple times. Yeah.
So I have a fast internet connection, a great camera, and we pre-test everything. But as soon as we start recording, I turn into a Game Gear game.
Shenanigans.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is, because you're on a completely different link now, so I'm not sure.
Yeah. Oh, all good. We'll figure it out.
Right. That's all I had for that. Steve, if they said, hey, included with the Game Boy Color and Game Boy, emulators that we're going to throw on here, here's a Sega Game Gear and Genesis one included with your Nintendo Online.
Possibly. I mean, the question is, would it get me excited? Possibly, but I also have I have every single NES, SNES, Sega game on my PC through the emulation, and I own physical copies of every single one of them. But
every single one.
No, that honestly, that would be a bigger deal for me if it was Sega. It's just the quality of the Game Boy and the Game Boy Color games. Like, it's not something that excites me. Like, I can remember a handful of them that I actually enjoyed.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like you. I really didn't get, like, I always had them, but it wasn't really something that I have nostalgia for. I would probably say to like the Game Boy Advanced era, like that. I would probably care a little bit more about like Advanced Wars and stuff like that. But even then, it'd only be a handful of things. Like, and I'm looking at this, and I don't even know how reliable this news is. Like, every SNES game come into Nintendo Switch. Like, this stuff doesn't jive, truthfully, for me, because maybe they mean every Nintendo.
So that's just how their website is. This is like a separate article inside of this article. These are all the ones that are.
What I'm saying is that they're referencing this person as being credible, when even that I can look at it and say that's not true. There's no way, because of licensing, all of the third party like movie games and stuff like that. There's no way it would be every title.
No, they're not saying every title. They're saying
Archie, you're not
listening
to me.
Of the ones that they're bringing.
Oh, okay.
Good.
If Ninja Turtles is on there, it might change my mind.
Okay. Well, maybe that's a little better, but yeah, I'm still not excited. I could care less.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to something that you said you were excited about earlier today. Alan Wake remastered. You want to take over on this one? Yeah, go for it.
You're the host. Anyway,
you're the other host.
Alan Wake. Alan Wake's being remastered. It's been announced. Remedy's a great company. Unfortunately, when Alan Wake came out, this was originally the Xbox 360 era. A lot of people did not care for it because it was not a bang bang shoot 'em up type game. It was really hard to kind of describe this. So you went around, it was an action adventure game, but you went around with like a flashlight and things like that. And like you would have these, I forgot what they were called, but maybe the darkness or something like that. And you would shine a flashlight on them. That would stun them. Then you would shoot them. Bam, bam, cool. But the core of the game was really more in the narrative strength. Like it was very much like one of those Twilight Zone type thingies. Kind of, damn it, I can't remember that show at the moment.
X-Files.
X-Files is great. there's another one too that I can't remember for the life of me at the moment. That was like spot on. But anyway, it was very intricate like that with the narrative. It didn't do well, but it did well enough to get like a. You guys remember the Xbox Live Arcade? It did well enough to get one of those type of sequels, like a little small 500 megabyte game. I think that was called Undead Nightmare or something like that. But anyway, Remedy then for the launch of the Xbox One, they did that game Quantum Break, which was a mix of television and kind of similar mechanics, time manipulation, and things like that. Another kind of flop, really, unfortunately. But then they hit it big with Control. Control was a fantastic game, loved by the media, had commercial success. And within Control, they were dropping a lot of hints saying that Alan Wake, Control, and Quantum Break existed within the same universe. So now with this announcement that they're doing a remaster is pretty much, I mean, you can probably confirm it with pretty good accuracy that they're going to end up doing a sequel because this is, we talked about this last week in reference to Dead Space. A lot of companies, they'll do a remaster just to kind of get people accustomed to it. You know, like, hey, 15-year-olds who don't have any clue what this title is, let's get a remaster in your hands and hopefully you'll be there to pick up the sequel when it comes out. So I'm excited for this. I love Remedy. I think they do a great job, and like seeing their success with Control was very satisfying because for the longest time, I mean, 360 was what, 2005, 2006, 2007, something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
So it's taken
Yep.
them that long to get a bona fide hit on their plate, and I mean, it's kind of unanimous that people love Control. So I really hope they can. The Alan Wake games, they were never, it was never a bad game. I just think it was bad timing. Like people need to kind of graduate from that era of where the only thing people wanted to play was FPS type titles and third person shooters. I think now is a good time for them. So let's see what happens.
Yeah,
Very cool.
you're right. It was definitely a time of everybody was just playing Halo or Killzone. Like that was the main squeeze of video game at that point. Gears as well. So everything was like over the top action, and we hadn't really seen too many titles dig deep into the listen. It's action but it's more of the narrative. And I remember whenever Quantum Break came out, the main thing that people were concerned about is I think the gameplay. And I didn't play it myself, so I'm not entirely confident in this, but the gameplay was around 10 to 15 hours and it had no replayability, but it was still a full price game.
That's not true.
It had replayability?
Yeah, the whole thing about the game was there was narrative decisions and like literally the episodes after each level changed based off the gameplay decisions you
Oh,
made.
Right, that's right.
we'll
'Cause
see.
it was a
There you
television
go.
show.
Completely
Right, because
different
there was a
then.
like television show at the same time. I remember that.
Dude, it was so it was real unique. Like you
Yeah.
played probably like every level's about an hour, and then you came to like this point, it'd probably have you make a decision, and then the episode that played right after that was I want to say like maybe 30 minutes to an hour. But it was very unique in that I think the thing that killed it was like people want to play a game just straight through. I don't think
Right.
people
Yeah.
really want it. But I liked it because it was like, oh, I played for an hour and then I take a little break. I sit here and I, check emails and shit like that while this TV show's playing. I don't know. It was strange. I don't think they'll ever release a game like that again, but I did think that it was a unique concept that they had in
I
it.
mean, Metal Gear Solid things are the same thing because you play it for a little while and then there's like 45 minutes of cutscenes. So
Yeah,
I mean, what's the difference?
yeah. But I mean, and the acting was actually pretty good. The story was good. I mean, it was still obviously it's like a made for TV type movie type thing, but
Mm-hmm.
I honestly thought they did a pretty good job with it, and the story ended in a pretty good way. That I was like, yeah, I would be down for a sequel to this, but I don't think they'll return to Quantum Break, but I do think there's going to be like some type of crossover with Alan Wake and Control. Like they handled it. I'm excited for you for Jordan to actually play through Control because they handled it in a very good way. Like the way they kind of dropped the tidbits in there, like it's really good.
Yeah, because I had picked it up to play. Well, you gifted it to me, and then I went and tried to play it a couple weeks ago, and then just things got a little bit chaotic in my personal realm. But I enjoyed the short amount of time that I had with it, especially in the first section. I went to go walk back somewhere, and suddenly the hallway didn't exist, and I was like, it's that kind of game. I was
Oh
like,
yeah,
okay, this is what I'm about
yeah,
to get into. So I'm definitely going to go back to that game and give it some more try because it
yeah,
was fun. I still have it installed. It's on my desktop and everything. I just gotta
yeah.
crank it back up.
Yeah, that's probably like the best thing to say about it. Like it's just fun. Like the
Mm-hmm.
way that they do things. They make you feel so powerful in that game. Like it.
Control.
Yeah.
I
So
actually
good.
was looking at that as something I would probably check out
Dude, it's
as well
worth it
too.
if you can. If you can get it, like that one, I would say is probably a one and done type thing. So definitely try to get it on sale if you can. I didn't. I never even actually went and played the Alan Wake DLC they put in there, but
Hmm.
I think you guys would enjoy it. Like
Yeah.
it's a great game.
I'm enjoying it so
Yeah,
far.
Alan Wake would never have been something that I would have played when it came out. I think I had whatever TV that I was playing Halo at the time on. I think the icons were burnt into the TV screen. Like that's how
Oh yeah,
much I played into it. Right, that's when that actually could happen when those TVs were
yeah.
older like that. So, but I could see this be something that I would enjoy now.
All right, so let's move along to the next item. PlayStation reverses decision on Horizon Forbidden West. It will now have a PS4 to PS5 upgrade path. So originally the story was posted that a blog post went out by Sony that said that you would only get the PS5 version of Horizon Forbidden West if you got like some special edition. If you got in the normal game for PS5 or for PS4, you would have to turn around, and if you ended up getting a PS5, you would have to buy it again at full price, or used price if it was a physical copy or something along those lines. But then I guess there was outcry about it, and Sony has listened, and they made another post, or I guess they updated the post saying that they have adjusted the way they're going to move forward on all first party PlayStation exclusive titles. So starting after Horizon Forbidden West, it will be a $10 upgrade path, whether you have the digital or physical copy of the PS4 game, for, again, first party PlayStation exclusives. For Horizon Forbidden West, they're going to include this upgrade to PS5 version of it at no cost, kind of as a show of good faith and everything. Does this seem fair to y'all? Let's start with you, Ryan. Does this seem fair to you?
Yeah, I do. I think it's fine.
Yeah.
I like that they're thinking about those things and doing that stuff. Good for the consumer. Yeah, it's tough to in how quickly these systems are upgrading. I mean, are there actually any PS5 games still? Isn't there like 6 total? I mean,
Yeah, I think
but the
exclusives,
idea,
yeah, there's not a ton.
yeah, I mean, so I think people still have a lot of people still have PS4s, right? So if they want more people to play it, but they still want them when inventory of PS5s becomes more reliable and they could be something that people scoop up more. I think it's a good path for the current state, right? If like you could get a PS5 on the shelves anywhere right now and it was really easy, then maybe not. I mean, whatever, buy for your system. I think that's
Right.
okay as well too. But I do like that part of it is like, okay, we understand that you might have a PS4 because you can't find a PS5. So let's make it easy for you to transition because what's 10 more bucks when you just spent however much they are for the whole console. So
Yep.
Agreed.
I looked really quick. There's 15 current PS5 exclusives.
okay, that's not
That are
terrible.
actually out and released.
Announced. So a couple of
Oh,
them are not
announced.
out yet, but 15
God, my
current.
camera. Jesus. Sorry, guys.
No, you're fine.
In terms of how I feel, okay. I mean, Xbox is winning in this field just by doing the smart delivery, where it's not even a question. It's like, hey, if you buy it, you get it.
Right.
But I feel like $10 more isn't that big of a problem. Someone did. I saw an interesting thing on Twitter though, where some people figured out they were like, well, technically, if you just buy the PS4 version always and do this $10 upgrade, you're always cheaper than buying the PS5 version, since PS5 games are $70 and most PS5 and or PS4 and Xbox games are 54, 54.99 or whatever. So
Right.
What if you bought a used copy?
Yeah, exactly.
yeah. And that honestly, that is what people said when people started pointing all this stuff out. People were replying to it like, yeah, that's probably why Sony didn't do this at first, because they knew there were so many ways for you to kind of get gypped. So yeah, I don't think they have any way that they can do the or they could actually stop you from having a pre-owned copy and doing that, unless they start putting like keys in the
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was about to say, is unless they
They
start
might not use
keying
the used copy or
games.
something.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, hey, you have to register a game before you could upgrade or something like that. That's probably the only way you could do that.
Like
But
each serial number has to only have, one upgrade applied to it at a time.
Yeah, because if you remember, I can't remember what type of games these were. Maybe it was EA, but there was something like in the 360 era where, like, if you didn't have that original, like the code that came with the game, you end up having to buy it like full price for the DLC or something like that. I can't remember what specifically was it was. I feel like it was like EA Sports titles or something.
I
I
know
think
there
you're
was
right. I think there was online passes for like Madden or something like
oh
that.
yeah.
See, I
Yeah,
think you're right because if you bought a used copy or you rented, you wouldn't be able to play online.
yeah,
I think there's something like that.
yeah. I think that's exactly what it was. I memory's blinking, but yeah,
Yeah, there was a bundle for like Final Fantasy 10 and 10-2 that came out for the Vita and then later for the Switch, and they both had the same issue where it was bundled as being both games, but the second game was only through a code that you got with the physical copy of the game. So if you went and picked this up used, which Caitlin and I did for the Switch, went and picked it up used, you couldn't play the second game at all because there's no code for it. And there's no way to buy just that second piece of the game. So you'd end up having to buying the whole game digitally if you wanted that, or you'd have to go find this copy, this physical copy out in the wild that was unopened, and still, brand new. So it was just
Out in
kind
the
of like
wild.
a really dumb way of doing things.
yeah.
I don't know. It was weird, but I'm on the same page. I agree with this $10 upgrade decision. Uh, roughly for because again, this is only for first party PlayStation games. So they do tend to be on the more expensive side. So the $59.99 versus the $69.99, there is only the $10 difference. So, and that's all they're asking for is the $10 difference. I'm perfectly okay with this. Even if I had a PS5 or if I was looking for a PS5, I wouldn't think of this and go, oh, I'm going to hold back on my purchases. This allows people who can't get their hands on it on a PS5 to still be able to enjoy currently releasing games. And then, they still have a library they can go to whenever they get the PS5, which, important note, the PS4 games, I'm pretty sure they still play on the PS5, don't they? Thomas, you're in chat. You know this. You can still play the PS4 version on the PS5, right?
I know the answer to that, but I know that Horizon might make me buy a PS5 though. I mean,
Yeah,
because it's
it's a good looking game.
there. I mean, I played Zero Dawn on PC, which would be cool if they did that sooner this time around. But but yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful game. It's an
Thomas
awesome game.
confirmed you can play the PS4 titles on the PS5. So, it's
Just some titles get a PS5 exclusive
boost. Yeah,
actual edition.
right.
Yeah.
They get like a boost that's normally seen in the form of higher fidelity textures on different things. It's very rarely is it a um, like a feature is cut or added on depending on what version you have. Even though we did see where Battlefield, the next one, is planning to have limited player counts on PlayStation titles. So not have no clue if that's because of the power of the system that they just don't want it, or if Sony knows that PlayStation Network might not be ready for that type of high bandwidth multiplayer match typing. Which you can't blame them. They don't have a powerhouse like Microsoft Azure behind them ready to just like bend at their will. So, yeah, I don't know. This is only good to me. I'm glad that they took the feedback from the community and said, hey, listen, okay, we understand. Probably not the best move. Here's what we're going to do moving forward. And I imagine that this is probably only going to happen for as long as there are not PlayStation 5 sitting on shelves. I think as soon as we hit a point where they're just like taking up stock at the local Best Buy, cool. Now, boop, we've flipped the switch. We're probably not even making PS4 games anymore. We're just focusing on our first party titles being PS5 only. So I think it's a short-term fix for them. They're not going to lose anything because of this. I think that is it in the news, unless there's a story that y'all had that you want to talk about.
Nope.
Nope. All right, cool. That's it for the news. Go ahead, if you're watching this on Twitch, hit follow, YouTube, hit subscribe, do all the things, like, comment, all that jazz. But stick around, more importantly, because just because the news is done doesn't mean we're done. On our radar is up next. This is the part where we talk about games that we normally they're upcoming games that we are looking forward to playing or are at least interested in and hoping to get community feedback on if it's a yay or nay type of situation. But this week, I actually wanted to bring up a game that's about to have another update that I've been playing for a while, Satisfactory. For those of you who don't know, this game came out about middle of last year. And the whole premise of the game is you are this, astronaut factory dude, and you land on this planet. You are harvesting the planet for materials, and it's just a factory. It's basically like
Factorio?
yes, it's basically 3D
3D
Factorio.
Factorio? I played Factorio. This game looks awesome.
It's such an amazing game. There are not too many games that I can just start playing and just completely lose track of time like this one. You start with smaller minerals, and then there's skill trees that you level up and everything. One of the new updates that they're doing right now involves a couple of different design choices. So they're really reining back on what you are not allowed to do, meaning that you have more freedom, like design freedom. You're allowed to move these tracks in certain ways that you weren't able before, which is going to allow for a lot different setup. And I've seen other people who have dedicated their let's plays to this game that have this entire map just completely filled out with one giant factory. It's a global scale that you're building on. So it's great. I love it. I can play this game for hours and hours and hours and end up just falling asleep because I've just kept playing until I got tired.
I'm gonna play this game.
Yeah, it's a good
This is
game.
awesome.
And
That
it's
looks really cool.
online multiplayer too. So you can build with a buddy.
Hey Archie, we're playing this game.
Yeah, you let me know when you get it and I will absolutely
Dang.
hop on.
Yeah, look at that overwhelmingly positive reviews.
Oh yeah. It's a great game. Great devs. They're very vocal about what they're doing and what they're doing next and what they're working on. And
So is it early access or?
it's early access, yeah.
Okay.
But it's been in early access for ever. I think
A year? Look at that. 2020? June 2020?
well, that's whenever it got on Steam. It used to be
okay.
like an alpha before this, but you would go directly through them. And I think it also existed on the Epic Game Store, which is where I have it through, before it made its way to Steam. So I think
I have
that's
to get on Epic Games, Epic Store if we're gonna play.
I think I don't know actually.
Ugh.
I don't know if
Oh
you have to
man.
or not, because inside the game
I
it
mean, I
doesn't
like you.
feel
I don't know
like
if I like you that much.
inside the
I
game it doesn't feel like how sometimes you can go in the multiplayer and you're like, okay, this feels like this is a Steam only because it's using Steam names and things like that. It doesn't feel like that whenever I play in there, but I'll look it up and I'll let you know afterwards.
Sure.
So what was on your radar, Ryan?
So it's a game coming out next month, Jurassic World Evolution 2. So it's a developer that I really like, Frontier. I have like 300 hours into Planet Zoo. I played Planet Coaster. They were like a team that helped, like even the original Roller Coaster Tycoons, right? They're not. That's not the same developer, but they're some of the folks that actually put those amazing games together that kind of did it again, right? So there was a Jurassic World Evolution 1. I think Steve played it a little bit. He can probably speak to it more. I didn't as much. It didn't look like it was fully fleshed out the way that I think this one is going to be. So if this is like a happy marriage between how Planet Zoo has been and then the first iteration of Jurassic World Evolution, looks pretty cool. I mean, it's Jurassic Park, it's dinosaurs, it's all sorts of cool stuff, and like that's kind of the new features that Planet Zoo had put out, like changing the habitats, having different skins on your dinosaurs, all the shenanigans that happens with them breaking out or attacking each other and things like that. So it looks really interesting. It's coming out next month. Kind of stuck under my radar a little bit. I didn't even know it was happening, but I like this developer. I like what they've done, and I think they can learn from what they've done, the good and the bad from the first game, and bring it home with this one. It looks pretty cool. So
does look pretty cool. Steve, are you gonna pick this one up? Because you played the first one, right?
Yeah, I just checked my Steam, so I have 25 hours in the first one. I liked it. We were talking a little bit pre-show about it, and kind of like Ryan had said from the reviews that he watched, that it kind of looked a little mobile-ish.
Yeah.
I don't have the same opinion actually. Like when I look at this, there's not that much new stuff that I see. Like you were talking about the skins, that was in the first game. The changing of the habitats was in the first game. The breaking out of the animals and attacking the park guest and all that kind of stuff was in there. The biggest things that I saw from this was the aquatic animals. We didn't have that in the first one,
Hmm.
and then also the flying animals we didn't. It does look like the scale might be bigger, which is definitely a very welcome change because one of the things I hated about the first one was that they did this thing where you had to go through this campaign and every campaign was on like this very small, I won't say hideously small, but it was pretty small. Like you
All
really
maps. Yeah.
yeah, it didn't give you enough room to like actually put your creativity in there and do everything that you wanted. Like I had so many ideas. I was like, oh, I would love to do this, but they did it in a way that was kind of assholish. Like the instead of having like an invisible, well, maybe not assholes, but instead of having an invisible wall, it would have like a mountain terrain. So it was like, yeah, at that point, they had all these little fixtures in the map that you couldn't move around. Like in even terraforming, you could only go so far. Like you couldn't remove mountains and rocks and shit like that. But this one, just from what they've seen, it looks like the scale is a lot bigger, which I would be welcome for. Eventually, in the first one, you did unlock a free kind of like creative mode, I guess you could say.
Sandbox or something like that.
Yeah, and it gave you a lot more room, but it still wasn't enough for you to like for instance, one of the things I always wanted, that I was like, okay, I wanted to build like within like think of Busch Gardens, like in Busch Gardens you go to here's a themed area, here's a themed area, here's a themed area. Like you couldn't do that in the first one because there just wasn't enough room. So I hope everything I've seen from this one looks a lot better. The scale looks better. Graphics look about the same, but I'm excited. Like you said, Ryan, I think if the first one was good and this is just a reiteration of that with some refinements based off the player feedback, it can only turn out well. I think you'll enjoy it. The first one was good, so this one I really think will be even better. Like I love this that you see on screen now. Like you can actually so if you watch the movie, remember how they had the
Those little,
Jurassic World, how they had those balls that the
Right.
kids
Right.
were
Right.
in?
Yeah.
Like any ride that you set up in this, just like Planet Coaster and all that, you actually can get in it and ride it. Like the helicopters that are going around shooting the dinosaurs, you can do that yourself. So there's a lot of cool shit in this. Like as much as I love the
I mean, that
city,
scale looks a lot bigger right there. Just that one screenshot we saw.
yeah. And as much as I like the building part, the stuff I really enjoyed was the sim part. Like I enjoyed the
Oh
sim
yeah.
stuff a lot more because it adds a like anybody. I mean, not anybody, but obviously I think we've all played like the roller coaster tycoon type games, and it's like okay, make your company profitable, but add on that extra piece of like, oh, you also have the breed dinosaurs and stuff like that that keep your to keep yourself going because they get old and they die and shit. So I think yeah, I don't know if it'd be a pre-order for me, but it'd definitely go on my wish list
Yeah.
and I'll pick it
And
up.
that's some of the stuff that they did with Planet Zoo as well too. So I think that the success that they've had, because that's been a great game. I've almost bought like almost every DLC with that too. It
Yeah,
just kind of refreshes it up a little bit here. Something I play with my wife.
yeah,
Um, so I think they've probably taken some key pieces of that. I don't think it's going to be just. It's not going to be Planet Zoo with dinosaurs. I think they're gonna. It's different enough, right? I think a lot of those sim elements that you mentioned. I think Jurassic World has more of those from what I saw of the first one. So again, just I think they can take things that they've learned from that and meld those worlds a little better to kind of flesh that out. I just feel if I again outsider looking at it, I didn't play it, so it just didn't seem fully fleshed out the first one. But it seems like maybe they can do better with this one.
yeah. This is the same company as Elite Dangerous as well.
Oh, really?
oh,
I
Yeah,
didn't know
that's
that.
right. Yep.
yeah. Frontier. They're a publicly traded company in Europe, so they are really trying to diversify the games they make. So they've got this. They also are doing a F1 simulation game. I don't know if that's going to be on here. If I
Oh,
can see
probably
it.
not.
Yeah, I know they've announced it, but they're doing like a F1 simulation title. They're I like them. I love their company. Like obviously the Elite Dangerous stuff is what got me into them, but then seeing all of this, like Planet Coaster was a great game. This I never played that Ghostbusters one. But yeah, with them being publicly traded, that actually makes me feel a little better about them as a company too, because they have this obligation to make things that are successful. So
They get
some
licenses too, huh?
Yeah, they do. I think that's like, I can't remember if that was mentioned in their last like earnings call, but I think that is one of the things that they specifically have mentioned, like that they're going to keep doing like additional IPs and stuff outside themselves. Like, and the cool thing about it, they have not like Elite has not taken a backseat to any of this, in my opinion. Like Elite still is getting big major updates as well. And then they still have, I think they probably have like one or two teams that they're shuffling around between like Planet Coaster and this. I would think at this point, but hey, it's working for them.
Cool.
Looks
Yeah,
good.
they do good stuff. I mean, the animals always look. I mean, the animals in Planet Zoo are like amazing, right? So I think that's what the things they do really well for Jurassic World too. I mean, obviously you don't really know what a dinosaur moves like, but but the models, that stuff's super cool. So especially when you get up really close like that. So
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, well, let's move on to Steve, your pick for the week.
Yeah, so I picked this game, Dodgeball Academia. Um, Probably looks kind of goofy from first glance, but I want to play this to kind of get a vibe back that I haven't been able to have in a while. So there's this game called Punch Club that came out a few years ago. Very similar to this in terms of being a sports RPG where it was like, hey, you're a guy and you're a boxer and you're going through all these kind of zany situations, fighting these zany characters and stuff like that as you make your way to the top. And this seems to be very similar as another sports RPG where you have this zany character and you're dealing with all these random people, but they promise to have a good story. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about it. I think it's $25 right now, so I'm gonna wait for a sale. I wanted to get it a little cheaper before I throw myself into it. But things like this, they just kind of they give me nostalgia for those old, like the old Final Fantasy RPG games, like like that old, I can't even you know what I'm talking about, Archie.
Yo,
Just like
yeah.
that, not turn based, but I don't know. Maybe it's the art style that really makes me think back to
yeah,
those. But yeah, I'm
it
excited for
looks
this
fun.
one.
Definitely has that
Yeah,
vibe
just
to
like
it. I can definitely see it.
yeah, and Punch Club, man, Punch Club. I don't even know
What was
how I
that out
got.
on?
Punch Club was on PC actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know how I got into this game at all. I can't remember
Punch
what
Club.
happened to get me into it, but
Oh, first rule Punch Club. Don't bring a gun.
I
but
think
it was
that's what started it. He got shot, and he's like, "I gotta avenge. I gotta start my
yeah,
life over."
but it was such a fun little game though. Like I would have never imagined that this was something that I wanted to play at
Is that
all.
the montage? Yeah, here's the montage.
Yeah, but they did all this shit so cool though, dude. Like I think at a certain point, like one of your mentors is a it was an alligator, I want to say. Like it was obvious like they had inspiration from the like Ninja Turtles in that piece, like versus having a rat, it was an alligator. But they did a good job, man. Like it really honed back to that old school like SNES Sega type shit. But it's cool though because it's in this day and age, so it's got graphics that look pretty good, and then the actual story content,
There's
yeah,
your
Yep,
they're
guy.
there
old.
he is. Try the
Yeah,
special
like
pizza.
obviously like a ripoff of Ninja
Yeah.
Turtles, right? But it was cool, man. It was a good ass game. And that game actually, again, it's another like boxing, or this one had that little extra piece of being like a simulation game too, because you also are running a boxing gym within it as well. So it was
That's
just,
cool.
yeah. Oh, it came out on like a few things, just never came to console apparently. But yeah, it was a cool little game.
It reminds me a lot of like the original like Mario Tennis titles that were more
Yeah,
RPG based. Yeah, Mario Tennis, Mario Golf titles where you had like your
yeah.
own
It's
dude and
just
you were leveling them up.
Those are those are.
yeah,
I mean, I love RPGs. I love little games like this too. So that is I can see that being cool for sure.
yeah.
Good
I'll let
stuff.
you guys know if I play
Yeah,
it when I play it.
All
yeah.
right. That is it for On the Radar. Next up is video game 20 questions. Let's go back to the other
I
one.
gotta turn a light on.
Do, do, do,
Jeez, it's
do.
getting dark
Yeah,
in
it
here.
did
You
get
guys can
dark
see me.
pretty quick. I can still see you.
I
Yeah.
use natural light right here out of this window, and then the sun sets, then it just leaves. It gets darker as we do this.
All right. So,
I'll get
for
a little
those who
closer with the
don't
monitor
know,
light me out.
Video Game 20 Questions is the challenge where one of us thinks up a game and it's up to the others to figure it out. And they have 20 yes or no questions to do so. So let me pull up my page real quick that I had for it.
Steve, you and I are guessing.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Steve and Ryan are guessing this week.
You got it, brother.
I'm not gonna get.
I trust you.
I don't trust me. I'll try to ask some good questions. All right.
Yeah, that's all
All
you gotta
right.
do.
I
I'm
got
gonna
my
need you
page
to
up. Y'all go ahead and go
take it
for it.
home.
We don't get a hint.
Nope, not on this one.
No hint.
Not
what
on
the
this
hell?
one. I'm gonna. So, if I give you a hint up front, it will almost point you exactly in the direction. But I will help guide you along the way.
Archie never gives the hints.
I'm the one that started doing hints. What do you mean?
This
I
is
never
2
give
weeks in a
hints?
row you haven't given a hint. 2 times in a row. It's like you almost
Fine,
want
I'll
us
tell
to
you
fail.
this: it is an RPG-based spin-off of a normal main series.
Thank you. Is it? Okay. You want me to go first? I got this one. Is this exclusive to a platform?
I'll say
Or
yes.
actually, can I rephrase that?
Sure, go for it.
Even though you said yes already. So I guess that kind of answers the same thing anyway, so never mind.
What was your refining question?
I was going to say, is it exclusive to a console manufacturer? Was what I was going to ask.
Yes.
Yeah, cool.
Is this game released post 2010?
Hang on. Post 2010. Let me see real quick.
But he's got to check.
No.
No. Okay. Oh, there I go.
This was before 2010.
Before 2010, but seems like it might be around 2010. Steve, he had to take a look.
Yeah, he was uncertain. Is this exclusive to Nintendo?
Yes.
Okay.
Is it Paper Mario?
No.
Is it based
Still,
off
that's a good guess.
Is it a Nintendo owned IP?
No.
RPG spinoff of something random. Okay.
So here's a hint. So while this side series is Nintendo locked, the main series is definitely not Nintendo locked. It is not Dr. Mario.
Oh, okay. Is it me?
Yes,
Is the main series locked to a console as well? Or to a platform? Console manufacturer? That's what I should say.
Originally, yes, but currently, no.
Keep going, Steve.
Okay. So it's not Final Fantasy because a RPG wouldn't be a spin-off for them. Who has Nintendo worked with? Probably not Ubisoft because Ubisoft hates them. Before 2010 means it's probably something around that era, so probably like 360, PlayStation.
Did they do a Sonic the Hedgehog thing?
It could be.
Is it a Sonic title?
It is not a Sonic title.
Was the main series exclusive to Xbox originally?
No.
Was the main series exclusive to Sony originally?
No.
So it was Sega. That's what you're saying.
Is that a question?
Yes, it's a
Was
question.
it Sega?
Yes. Originally, the main series was locked to Sega.
And you answered Fish and said it's not a Sonic title, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Are there Disney characters in this?
Oh, hang on. I might have misspoken on an earlier answer. Hang on.
Guy.
That was a stupid answer. So the main series was not locked to a
I wasted 3 questions on that, sir.
Yeah, I'll give them back to you though. See, watch. Doop. There you go.
All is good in the world.
So the main
Disney
series
characters. Are there Disney characters in this RPG?
No, there are no Disney characters in this.
Kingdom Hearts.
They actually did have an RPG that came out on Nintendo.
Yep. Chain of Memories. Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, so that means it's not it since you're throwing titles out. And well, not too old. Damn. Is the main series something we would have played as children?
It could have been. The main series definitely was on Super Nintendo. Let me double check to see if it was on NES. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, it was definitely on original Nintendo.
Yeah, damn. This is gonna be a tough one. Badfish.
I know, I'm
Um,
struggling.
let me start thinking. So the good thing is that Nintendo doesn't release a shit ton of games. Luckily. If it's a RPG, was this on a handheld?
Yes, was on a handheld.
Okay, so that narrows it down a bit. He was struggling with 2010, so it's a DS game. Um, do, 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 do. DS games actually have a lot of this here.
What was it? Was it a DS game though?
Oh,
In 2010,
He said was it after
or
2010, and I said no. That means it could have been any time before
it looked
2010.
like you had to think.
yeah,
No, I had
something
to
it was
look at
around.
my little
Yeah,
thing
meaning
right
that you
here.
didn't know, so that lets us know it was close to that era. Because
Yeah.
if it was older, you would have been like, "No,
I
idiots."
will say that the
But you
latest
have to check.
title, the latest title is not even after 2010.
I'll just get it out the way. Did this appear on the DS?
The spin-off series did have a DS title,
The game that you're having us guess,
but
was
no,
that on the DS?
no,
Oh.
Was it on GameCube?
no. You said handheld.
Oh, duh. Damn, I wasted a question there.
Like Game Boy Color?
No.
What's after that? What's between Game Boy Color and DS? I don't know.
Advanced.
Yes.
Game Boy Advance. Okay.
Yeah. And at this point, I've lost it because I did not play Advance a lot. Does your character wear a hat?
Your character wears a helmet. Well,
Is this
one-
from the Mega Man franchise?
it is from the Mega Man franchise.
Ooh.
So what
Hopefully you
is
know some Mega Man
so
RPGs.
now the answer
Steve.
is very simple. What is the title of the RPG spin-off for Mega Man?
Is this called Mega Man RPG?
No.
Super Mega RPG?
No.
Here, I can just Google it real quick. Hold on. I have my computer right here, man.
Alexa.
Bomberman?
Do-
Bomberman RPG.
No, we already said it was Mega Man.
Maybe they called him Bomberman the next one. It's a spin-off RPG.
Oh my god.
Mega Man is in the title.
All right.
How many words are in the title?
4. 2 of them being Mega Man.
That wasn't a yes or no question. Thank you. Okay, so it's not Mega Man Legends, which is what it's gotta be Mega Man. Oh my god, what is this? Mega Man. Wait. A lot of Game Boy Advance games had Advance in the name. Does this have Advance in the name?
No.
Damn it.
I'll give you a little
Mega
bit
Man
more.
and Friends.
That's not a question. So I'm not answering. So this is so the main premise of this game was you were not Mega Man. You were a kid by the name of LAN, who Mega Man was like his little partner in the network. Hint. And that's how you play. That's how
Mega
you play
Man
Mega
LAN
Man.
Party.
Do you consider Mega Man one word or 2 words?
I consider it what it is, which is 2 words.
Was the title called Mega Man LAN Party?
No, it was not.
Well, you said the kid's name was LAN. That's a great guess.
Mega Man and the
I
Void.
definitely
Mega
said the
Man.
last word of the title.
Thank you.
In
Mega
that, in that
Man
hint.
something LAN.
No,
Something network.
correct.
Mega Man LAN Network.
No. I'm taking a question away for that one.
Oh man. Mega.
Thomas, you should know this one. I'm pretty sure you've played this one. I think.
Is the missing word a verb?
Could be. Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
That's not it. We don't take a question away for that.
Well,
you didn't give
I
us
mean,
a definite answer.
In a title, it could be one way or another.
Can I rephrase the question?
Sure.
In the title of the game that we're guessing, is the missing word used as a verb?
Not necessarily. No. But you would know this as, you know, blank blank two. You know.
Huh.
I almost said the word.
You would know this as blank blank 2.
To the word.
Back network.
No.
Bad
So
network.
this is all right. So we're running
Why would
down.
they choose the
Mega
title?
Man Bomb Network.
No.
He's not Bomberman Fish.
He's not
Bomberman.
Oh man. We're gonna get this. We got 3 questions. We got it. What does Mega Man do? He blasts.
He does blast.
Guess
But
that.
you would.
But why
That's
is he
automatically
why
a
is he
verb.
blasting?
Someone harmed him.
Harm Network. Mega Man Harm Network.
He's been wronged.
Oh man.
Childhood.
So one of the main concepts of this game was you would control Mega Man inside the network, and Mega Man would walk around inside of these, you know, network spaces, and there would be random encounters that would happen, and you would go into a, you know, a type of phase where you would fight whatever randomly showed up in front of you on a
Mega Man Battle Network.
Correct. That is it. I don't have
You
any
did it.
noises set up on this thing yet, but yeah, just air 5 each other. Great.
We.
Good
Thank
job,
you.
Steve. Carried
It
me.
is.
Your
It is
backers.
not. It's not Mega Man Village.
No, not Mega Man RE Village.
And it's not Bomberman for sure. So
Not Barman. Can we get the specs?
Yeah, sure. I got a little video up here too. Mega Man Battle Network. This was the intro screen, and I thought I had noise on it, but I guess not.
And you said Mega Man's 2 words. Just 1 word.
It is Mega Man is 2 words. If you look at the actual like presser page, it is 2 words.
Okay, if you say so. Hey, it worked anyway. We're fine.
It
We
did.
won.
So this was the main premise of the game. You were this kid out in the real world. This guy, Lan, was his name, and Mega Man was on your. I don't know. You had like this
Wyatt.
little
your little Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, you had like a little Game Boy Advance basically that they called a PET, and you would plug into, you know, a network terminal, and these are what the battles look like. You had little cards in the beginning, and you would load up your battle chips, and then you would activate the fight. And every couple of rounds you get more chips and whatnot. So it was like a weird like deck building / RPG / action title. It was a pretty fun game.
Backhand in chat said it took them 5 years to beat that game.
Took me 5 years to beat the first one. I hope not, because the first one was really easy. The later ones got really difficult though. This one saw like 6 different. Let me pull it up real quick. Let's see. So there was Battle Network, Network Transmission, Battle Network 2. I think that's just the Japanese one right there. Then Network 3 had a blue and white edition. And then 4 had a Red Sun, Blue Moon. That one was difficult. 5 was Proto Man versus Colonel.
Bomberman.
And then Network 6 was Cyber Beasts. I don't know. I didn't play this one. Gregar versus Falzar or something like that. Where they started doing the whole Pokemon thing of like, oh, it's the same game, but there's 2 different versions of it. And depending on what version you have, there's different bosses you fight, which means that there's different cards that you get inside the game. And you could trade between games. It was fun. I enjoyed it. And it did see a DS release. I think Red Sun and Blue Moon were the DS ones. I'm not entirely sure about that.
Yeah.
Maybe the 5th one.
This is cool. I just want to remind everyone that the question that really got us here was, does he wear a hat?
If you see right there, he wears a helmet.
Yeah. Is a helmet a hat? Is it? It's like is a hot dog a sandwich type of question?
A hot dog is a sandwich if you
Is a
ask me.
taco a sandwich then? See, that's
It is.
that's the thing. Let me
Yeah.
switch back to
Yeah. Maybe it
this.
was a fun little game back in the day. I haven't played one in years though. But
Did you ever play this one, Battle Network?
no, that's why I said when you said it was an advanced game, I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to. I think I don't even remember if I actually ever owned an advance, to be honest. Like, did Gold and Silver come out on that, or was Gold and Silver on Game Boy Color?
Gold and Silver was on Game Boy Color along with Crystal.
What Pokemon games came out on Advance?
Ruby and Sapphire and Emerald came out on Advance.
Okay,
And
yes,
then
I never
eventually
had an
the Red
Advance.
and Green remakes.
Yeah, well, actually, Advance Wars 1 and 2, were those Advance or were those DS?
Those were Advance.
Yes, I did have it for, man, I must have only had like 3 or 4 games on it because I remember playing Advance, but I think that was it. I don't remember anything else from the Game Boy Advance.
Did you have a Game Boy Advance, Ryan?
No, I mean, I had like a gap in video game land, so I had like a couple handhelds. I had Game Gear, and um, then I had just the like original Game Boy. I didn't have a Game Boy Color. But then I like skipped for a while, and then picked back up with like N64, and then it was just consoles from there. So N64 rolled that to PS2, I think. Um, so yeah, my video game history as a kid wasn't as deep as it is now. Like it was more like sports games and like
Right.
Madden every year, Grand Theft Auto, just kind of like the biggest names that would come out sort of deal. That kind of changed for me with introductory to PC gaming and some other stuff. So
If
Being
you ever
adult
feel like
helps
playing
too.
them on your
adult,
PC,
yeah,
let me know. I can
yeah,
get
maybe.
you those physical copies you need.
There you go.
All
Good
right, so that
shit.
was it for video game 20 questions. Now we just kind of hang out, talk about what we've been playing. Steve, what have you been up to?
So I started Days Gone finally.
Yeah.
I bought it probably like 2 or 3 months ago. Right away because the developer they had talked on, I can't remember if it was Twitter or something, but they had posted just basically about how unfortunately Sony was not going to give them a sequel to the game. They were complaining, like, hey, unfortunately we didn't have enough sales at launch, so there's probably not going to be a sequel to this, but it's on PC now, so please go play it anyway. We want people to have our work. So I felt bad for them because they did something completely new. It was unique. I feel actually I'm enjoying this more than even Last of
Get my
Us.
dog out 1 second.
Yeah, no problem. I'm actually enjoying this even more than Last of Us 2. Um, a hell of a lot more than Resident Evil Village. Like so I feel bad for them. They really deserved more attention. And apparently, a lot of people feel the same way. Like it was good, but it probably wasn't exactly like a masterpiece to the level of like what Sony's games usually are.
Mm-hmm.
Where you're competing with God of War, Horizons, and stuff like that are masterpieces. This was like, hey, it was good for the first outing, but I don't have any complaints, but I could see where people were like, yeah, this needs to have a number two for it to really I think they would have come into their own. Most of my complaints were just it's very slow to start. Like they don't even let you sprint at first. Like
Oh,
for probably 30 minutes you're not allowed to sprint. And then for like another 30 minutes you're not allowed to even have a gun. And like they really
like
kind of
handhold you?
piecemeal, not even handhold you. They just, well, actually in a way, yeah, they do, because it's like, oh, we don't want you to sprint, so there's a tutorial about pressing the button to sprint, and oh, you can't have a gun until it's time to have combat. And they do like that. Like probably the first 2 hours are strictly like tutorial things, but after that, man, the way it opens up, I love it. It's this huge map, and you've got these zombies, and like they're not the Resident Evil zombies that are slow and like they're fast and they travel in hordes. Like it really feels like this is what DayZ, like if you watch that movie, this is like what DayZ should have been. Like
Mm-hmm.
you're out in the world, you're fighting these hordes. But what I love is like it does like it branches in so many different mechanics. So it has like this thing where really it turns just like Walking Dead. Like, okay, you and whoever you're with, you need to find a settlement. You need a new home base where you're going to travel to. Okay, you got your home base now. Okay, but now, the freakers, how are you going to keep them out? Okay, well, let me go and set up my base. Like, let me build fortification here. Let me set a trap over here. Like they do things so smart. Like you can actually funnel the hordes of enemies into certain areas. So like if you're like, oh, you know what, I want to eliminate. And there's another thing too. The zombies are persistent around where you're at. So like if you're like, man, this area is just too hot. I need to calm this down a little bit. You can set like you can really funnel them into something like, hey, I'm gonna lure them over to my base, which is dangerous because they could overwhelm me. But if I can pull this off correctly, I could funnel them into this one little area, Molotov, cocktail them to death, drop them into a big hole, whatever the case is. Like, I just love the. This is why I always tell you guys, like, I love Metal Gear Solid 5 was just when a game tells you what to do, but not how to do it. Like, hey,
Right.
you need to do this thing, but use your imagination on how you actually accomplish it. So I'm really enjoying it. I'm excited to keep playing. I think it's about a 30-hour game, so a lot of
Mm.
content there to get through. But yeah, that's what I've
Is it
been playing.
multiplayer?
Only single player.
Oh, I
Only
think I
Okay.
single.
enjoy it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's another I was telling him before you
Sorry about that.
I was telling you or telling Archie before you left, like it's not a masterpiece to the level of like Horizons. Now that you've played that, you're like, oh man, this is what fucking Sony's doing on the
Yeah.
PS5. It's not quite there. Like this is one of those things where they probably needed one more game to really come into their own. Like it's a great game, but they probably with one more title under their belt, they would probably make a masterpiece because they would, the skill is fine. It's just it's not even polished. It's more so like they didn't. I don't. What am I trying to say? It's more so like they probably could have benefited from having like a lot of focus testing up front. Like I was telling him, it's like an hour before you even get to shoot a gun.
Oh
Like
yeah.
Oof.
stuff that people would have had to play. Like, yeah, I like the game, but it takes too long to get to the action. Like, but after you get past those first like 2 hours, it's fine. So,
Cool.
Tom in chat loves it. He actually is the person who convinced me to finally play it. Like, because I have a PS5 sitting in the corner. I actually have, or not a PS5. I have a PS4 Pro sitting in the corner. So like Ghost of Tsushima and this game were two games I'm like, it looks like they're going to start doing PC ports, so I'm just going to wait for the PC port. And luckily they did do it for this. Ghost of Tsushima is the other one that I'm holding my fingers out for because they look so much more incredible on PC. Like they already look great on the PS4 5 or the PS4 5 on the PS4 Pro, but when you play it on
It
PC,
was
it's like
basically that 4.5.
yeah, but when you play it on the PC, man, like just drop dead gorgeous. Obviously, you've had that experience from
Yeah.
from Horizons, and this it looks just as good. It's just the gameplay isn't as polished. Like Horizons just feels
Is
so.
it third person or is it first person?
Yep, third person.
So you
You
play with a
gotta
controller?
yeah, I play with controller on
Yeah.
this. Yeah, that's my rule of thumb for anything that has like high mobility. Destiny, well, Destiny's kind of an odd one. I don't do it for that, but like anything where I'm like doing rolls and
Witcher
jumping.
3.
Yeah, like and in this game too, you have a motorcycle. That's another cool part of it. Like, sometimes
Ah.
your motorcycle breaks down. It's like, oh, you got to go find a part now. And like, I like that it forces you into
Do you
uncomfortable
use
situations.
mouse and keyboard or controller for No Man's Sky?
That one I was on mouse and keyboard. Yeah, like stuff like that because if there's a lot of bindings that you have to do and shit too. Like, oh, you
Right.
got to
Okay.
build, then it kind of makes sense. But yeah, that's a funny one. But for the most part, I probably say I'm like 85% mouse and keyboard, and then 20%. That's not even a real number, 85 and 15. But you
So
know
when
what
you
I mean.
play a Assassin's Creed title, you're a controller.
Oh, controller,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Okay.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Absolutely.
That's a
Yeah,
good example.
yeah, because it's that stuff where you need like that.
Yeah.
I guess I call it
Quick
like
mobility. Like, yeah.
yeah, I'll say like that 360 mobility. If it's a
Right.
left, right, whatever FPS, I'll play
Strafing.
mouse and
Yeah.
keyboard all day.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I know what you mean.
what have you been playing?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, sorry, the camera's gone again. So I actually have dipped back into, you add so many games in as a PC player, whether it's like through a humble bundle or something like that, and I was looking at just for something else to play. I was looking for an RPG, and I stumbled back on Pillars of Eternity.
Hmm.
So there's already a Pillars of Eternity 2 that's out, but I'm on the first one. So this is Obsidian, right, is the developer. Paradox is the publisher. So again, companies that I gravitate towards and like a lot. So it is a party-based, real-time, with pause, tactical RPG, right? So it's I think it's up to 6 party members that you either can recruit or talk along the way. Story-driven narrative. I'm liking it so far. I'm only a couple hours in. I'd probably say 10 or so hours in,
yeah, cool.
but that's my type of game. Just story driven, decision making, and then the combat is pretty deep. Custom characterization is pretty deep, and if I like it, there's DLCs for it. There's a whole nother release as well
Yeah,
too, and that's what I like to do. I'm a patient gamer, right? So I end up playing the games that I do like for a long time, and then I can go back to a title that 2015, the graphics don't matter because for this type of game, right? It's it's not for the graphics, right? It's not a
Right.
AAA release or anything like that. So they stand up. It stands up great. So I'm enjoying it so far. Because there's a couple games in that genre that I've really dug recently. Like the Divinity Original Sins,
Yeah, I was gonna say.
were fantastic. They're a little bit more fleshed out. That's like a perfect game to me. Like a 10 out of 10 was Divinity Original Sin 2. Makes me look forward to Baldur's Gate 3 when it comes out.
Oh
I'm going on a
yes.
tangent a little bit, but I'm not going to play that in early access. Looks like that's going to be like a 2022 thing, but that's a game I'd be very excited about. But those are my type of games, single player, maybe deep combat system, can change things, go online and look at a YouTube video how to make a cool build, a character build, stuff like that. That's what I like to do. So I'm enjoying it so far. Probably bust it out for another couple hours and then have to respec my character or change everybody in my party pretty soon once I figure out the mechanics. So I'm still learning all the things, but that was part of the fun of like a Divinity Original Sin 2 is like playing it and then realizing there's a whole nother level to this if you
Yeah.
character build, if you go online and like say, I want to do all these crazy abilities, and then you get really excited, and that makes it really really fun. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far though, and it's exciting. I like knowing that there's more to come if I like this as well too, with DLC in this and a whole nother standalone, Pillars of Eternity 2 as well. So that's what I'm playing.
That's good stuff.
What about you, Archie?
So I picked up Oblivion, oddly enough. Yes. I picked up Oblivion and started playing that again, and I've just been really enjoying it. It looks terrible as expected because it was a really early. It was pretty early on in the 360 lifespan that Oblivion came out. So early enough that like it doesn't even have really fleshed out controller support on PC. So I had to like juggle that for a minute.
Wait, but it came out on PC.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. My controller just doesn't work for it. So I'm playing keyboard and mouse, which is fine because it still has the whole first person reticule and everything like that.
That's a first person. It's a keyboard and mouse game now.
So for me, it's not, and it's weird because I'll play the Fallout series keyboard and mouse all day, but the Elder Scrolls series, including Skyrim, I have to play with a controller. It just feels more natural to me. Feels more natural.
That's surprising.
Yeah, I don't know why. I also play the other weird one that I play with a controller instead of keyboard and mouse is Borderlands. All three of them, or I guess four of them.
I actually did too.
I play.
I think
with
Borderlands is a controller game. You're hopping in vehicles all the time.
Right, you're hopping in vehicles. You're jumping around a lot.
No, I think I played on. Well, I've played it on console and PC. I think I played. Obviously I played with a controller on console.
Yeah.
But I think I just used keyboard and mouse for that one. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually pretty surprised Elder Scrolls style that you'd use a controller for.
Yeah, I mean, probably because I got introduced to Elder Scrolls on the original Xbox, Morrowind. And so it's just always felt more natural for me to use a controller. But Fallout, I didn't start playing. Well, I did have Fallout on 360. I don't know. I really don't know. It just feels more natural to me to play one with controller and the other with keyboard and mouse. But playing Oblivion has really made me wish that like Skyrim would just move on with its life and let's get to the next one.
Yeah, the next one. Yeah.
Because there's so many good mechanics in Oblivion that just didn't get over into Skyrim, or they were completely changed in Skyrim. And
like your speechcraft.
Yeah, speechcraft stuff. All of the like enchanting stuff and alchemy stuff, it's completely different, and it just felt better in Oblivion. So I've been playing that. I only got a couple hours in it on this playthrough, but it was pretty fun. I'm Argonian on this one, which I don't think I've ever been.
Put any mods on to make it look better?
No, I have not put any mods on in it.
There's probably some that make it look a little decent.
Yeah, there's a couple of them that help with higher refresh rate monitors. Like that's something I can notice on here because it's not the highest, but I do have 144, I think, or 170 something. I don't remember. and it does it doesn't stutter. It just like feels like if it had built-in motion blur to help with it, I would probably turn it on in this one scenario. And I don't ever, that normally makes me feel like I'm going to vomit sometimes on high refresh rates. Having that motion blur is kind of dizzying almost. But yeah, I mean, it still runs flawlessly. Like, what was weird though is this is from the day and age of where games would actively scan your hardware to see like what settings it should go to, and I think some still do that now, but it's not very common. Most just leave you on medium and let you change it up to max now. But it said that it wanted it on like low high, and I was like, "Oh, you shitting me, low high," because it just has no clue what to do with any of the hardware. So it just like, sure, let's just throw them right here where it's safe. But I had, everything is maxed out on it, and it runs pretty damn smooth, with the exception of quick turnarounds. You can see that little bit of hiccup in frames just because it wasn't built to support that many frames per second. I don't even know if like 1080p was a real resolution when this game came out first.
No, it wasn't.
Because
Definitely not. No.
Yeah, 1080p wasn't even fully adopted on 360.
Yeah, I think this was back when the 360 was still rocking the component and composite cables. Because I'm pretty sure I remember I had an adapter cable that allowed me to plug it into VGA into my monitor, and that's how I ended up playing, because it just looked so much better through the VGA port.
Yeah,
Because you could get those high
I
resolutions.
love that video game. I would say that Oblivion was my like first true RPG, and like kind of like, I don't know, just like I'm just gonna take this bow and arrow and wander into the woods and
Get
kill a
lost.
deer, and then
Yeah.
I sold into a quest. Like, holy moly! Like, it was kind of a game changer for me when I don't even know why I picked it up. It was outside of my comfort zone from like a video game perspective. You know what? I think I had a roommate my first year of college. I think he played it because he was a PC gamer. Got me into it a little bit. I mean, I played Counter Strike before on PC and stuff like that. But again, sports titles mostly. And then he played Oblivion, and I was like, "Dude, what are you doing?" He's like,
What is that nerd shit you're
I'm
playing?
hunting a deer, man." And I'm like, "What is this?" And it looks pretty cool. So I would watch him play it, and then I was like, "I'm gonna get this myself." I played on my laptop, and then I think I eventually got a Xbox 360 copy. I think I got the Game of the Year copy where it had the expansion.
Mm-hmm.
And then I played through it again. So I think I played through it a couple times. So that one is on my like Mount Rushmore of like why I love video games sort of thing. Again, at the time, like everything was amazing that it does. Right? It's hard for it to stand up. Sometimes some games are like that where you can't go back completely and just feel the same feelings about it. But that one that one changed the game for me a little bit of what I like to play for sure. So
Yeah, it was definitely a top-notch game in my book. It's one that I keep, I probably go back to it every once in a while, like I did now. Right up there with Fallout 3, not 4, but 3. I go back to 3 a lot too.
do you ever play New Vegas?
Oh yeah, New Vegas is better than 3 in my opinion.
So
I think New Vegas is the best.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. So I didn't play New Vegas. I played 3 and 4, which is weird because it came out between them, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I loved Fallout 3, and I was like, and it just might have been what I was doing at the time or something like that, just busy or something, and didn't pick up New Vegas. But I've heard amazing things, and I was even looking at it last week. I own it, but I would probably want to. I would probably want to mod it.
Yeah, dude,
in
go
some
through
way.
it. I think I think the story of New Vegas is enough to pull people through, even if the graphics and shit suck. Honestly, like I would have a hard time going back to Oblivion just because fantasy isn't really the thing for me. But I thought like New Vegas has you make some decisions that are like actually hugely impactful. Like I think even more so than like the later games, honestly.
Yeah.
Right.
Personally, and a lot of people, I forgot what studio. Archie, maybe it was a different studio too that did New Vegas. So maybe that's why I kind of slipped past you.
Yeah, Obsidian.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which I'm playing Pillars on right now.
Yeah, so I think Obsidian, what they do better than the regular team behind Fallout, I think they do like the narrative decisions and like the depth of that. I think they do that better than the standard Fallout team, personally. Like I don't know, man. I've not liked Fallout since like 3 was like the last one that I could even say I was content with. 4 was a
I like
mess.
Score.
I
I didn't
like
get any
the
DLCs. I built the most
yeah.
epic settlement ever. Like,
So the
in it,
settlement shit was cool, but
Yeah, the
I
settlement
would,
is really what got me through that game.
yeah. And the story, like the twist in, I kind of liked, but ultimately I didn't care for that one as much. I
It
didn't.
ruined replayability. Once you know, and you're like, okay. I mean,
Maybe that's what it
half the
was. Yeah, I didn't.
story is ruined at that point.
right.
And
You
I
know,
didn't even finish it past like the point of the reveal. I didn't even finish
uh,
after that because I was like, oh, this is so like it was cool, but it was like, yeah, I don't need the because everything your motivation at that point is
Right.
kind of gone. Like because you're doing something else the entire first half of the game, and then that happens, and it's like, oh, okay, well, everything I
what
was kind of
now?
doing means nothing.
It kind of
Yeah.
makes your path like pretty obvious what you want to do too. It's like,
Right.
Yeah,
you know
that's
what I
why I
mean?
said like after that reveal happened, I was like, okay, this is it for me. But it was an okay game. There's a bug too that caught me in that one. But I remember us like we talked a lot more about the settlement than anything else. Like the settlement building, like
Yeah,
oh, it's sending screenshots and shit like that. Like I don't
yeah.
remember any of us
I
like
had a, I think it
oh
was
the
one of the first
story.
YouTube. I had like a YouTube walkthrough. I lost that
Oh yeah.
video, but I had a YouTube walkthrough of my settlement.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
That was pretty epic because I found a glitch that allowed you to, because on the PC like you could just build forever, right? But we played it.
Yeah.
We all played it on, was it Xbox? Was
Xbox
it
One.
Xbox
Xbox
One.
One?
Yeah.
Right. But there was like some glitch that you could do to make sure that you can have more,
Yeah.
um, just more items. I don't know how to explain.
More
More like they
resource.
limited. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. They capture resources of what you could build, but there was like a glitch that you could like add to it. So I had like the tree house and like apartments and like it was awesome.
Yeah.
That really took up most of my time in that game. Um, but there were some builds that I would get into again, like once you that's another level of a game that I've like not like min maxing or anything like that, but just like more like abilities and how you can not exploits, but how you can be like overpowered, sneaking, punching people like melee, right? So then you
Yeah.
like figure out how to do that, and then like okay, now this game has taken a twist where the combat isn't just me going into that every 2 seconds and sniping someone from
Right.
afar. I'm playing the game differently. But I think, once you get to that point, maybe this story doesn't matter as much, right? You've kind of played through it, you do stuff like that. So I think a game's great when that's going on at the same time that you're enjoying the story the first time, or there's a lot of replayability of it. Uh, but yeah, I ended up playing, probably staying longer in Fallout 4 for the settlement building and just builds, right?
Yep. Same here. All right. I think that's it. Steve, you want to plug anything? You got anything special to share before we bounce out?
Nope. Our helicopter's still available for sale at hypeperformancegroup.com
And
for
it's still
Microsoft Flight
amazing.
Simulator. Thank you. Yeah, things have been
Uh,
great.
Ryan, you got anything you wanna?
No, man, this has been great.
No?
Just waving to the camera.
Just waving by. All right.
Thanks for
Well,
having me
that's
on.
it for this week. See y'all next week. The camera's not over there. It's over here. Bye.
Ouch.